I think we have now 1 minute until Timo's and Dario's presentation. And just to remind, as you already all are doing, keep your microphones down during the presentations, and also it is okay to turn also videos down during the presentations, and then when we have discussions, then open up again when someone is speaking. Do you need some technical break, Timo and Dario, or should we go straight to your presentation?
From my point of view, we can start. I just noticed that I have to plug my computer to the current, and it's done, so no worries.
Very good. And remember to plug yourself too to the current that keeps you going. So yeah. I will mute myself and stop also the video and give the screen to you, Timo and Dario.
So I hope this is. Are you saying the right thing?
No, you still have to press it.
Now we see the presentation mode.
Yeah.
Now it is
we
okay.
See the right one.
Okay. So today I will explain how we have implemented blended and flipped way the instrumental pedagogy and didactic studies in our school. And first I will explain about how it is done, and then the second part of the presentation we will discuss with Mr. Dario Dorner, who's one of the. Welcome, Dario.
Well, thank you very much, and looking forward to the discussion.
Great. So this is in short how we do. So this is really the skeleton model, what we do. So the trainee student lessons are recorded on the video by students with their own smart devices. And then the video is uploaded, or better to say, the link of the video is uploaded to our learning management system together with the scores and the exercises and all the materials was included in the lesson. In the learning management system, we also have some assessments, synchronous and asynchronous, as well listing of materials, etc. And then we have feedback sessions about the trainee student lesson videos. The feedback sessions are online. So that's why it is in cloud, or actually we use Zoom. In this slide, you will see the welcome page of from our learning management system. So you can see the return box in where the students return their assessments as well, the lesson plans, etc. Also, you can see some asynchronous assessment and the discussion area. And also, we have used at times Padlets to give some kind of a quick comments. So the flipped learning is an interesting concept that we need to be precise, that we understand the difference about teaching someone instead of creating the spirit of how to find the information one needs. And also it is about to create learning opportunities instead of that me as a teacher, I am the active actor. So the goal is to make the students to be active actors in their own learning. So what we have done, so like for example, as I mentioned, the feedback sessions, the students are required to watch and give peer review on each other's lessons prior the meeting online. So then when we meet on that feedback session, we first discuss together about didactic and pedagogical matters. And then as I can see some point or technique or practice that was not found yet by the students, then I have my knowledge in their use. And it's very satisfying for myself, because what I feel that I can be much more precise in my teaching. Another important thing is that, for example, when students prepare presentation on a certain guitar method, for example, the work can be done individually or in groups, and students do this on their own time when it pleases the best for them. So in online meeting, then the students present the part and the other group presents the other part of the method. And so the ownership of learning is on them. And that's something what was our goal. And I really would like to recommend those books you see in those titles, Flipped Learning in Finland and also Flipped Assessment. They are available, of course, also in Finnish, but also in English, and they are e-books. And so very nice. This Marika Toivola, who is the main author of both books, she is a mathematics teacher, but it really doesn't matter. She's really smart, and have a look if you have time. And you know the guy down under at the left side, this Socrates. I don't think this flipped learning is a new thing, but it's like the Socratic method. So he had the same goals as what is now called as flipped learning. But anyway, that is my strategy. So why to use this? Well, as I mentioned, the video, using video, it is something that usually for the students, it has been in the beginning very, very painful to see oneself on video. But then it's so helpful, because you can see yourself from outside, and it becomes, then you know what happens, and you can distance yourself from the actor as creating your role as a teacher eventually. And the good thing when we record material, eventually it creates a portfolio, which I think in the future will be more and more important for a music professional to get employed. So, of course, during the studies, it is something that eventually, and at times, students can go and see back what have I done like a year ago, and can see really the difference, so that things have changed and developed. And also then probably also from the studying times, collect certain material for really to show when looking for jobs. Also, I mentioned in this from my point of view, so that I don't need to explain things just because I have to explain things. So I wait for the reaction from the student, and then I can help. And that was difficult kind of in the beginning, because I thought that I should keep the control, but that's in the real life, it's on the contrary, it really works. And then is the scaffolding. So what I have found out, that when I'm talking about this instrumental pedagogy course, which lasts for 4 years, in the beginning I tried to structure it, plan in advance, but it doesn't work, because of course, there are certain skills the students need to master during 4 years, but it is during 4 years. So the order of the skills in which we take them into action, it doesn't matter. So as I'm reacting towards what students give to me, then we can do this and that according to the real need, not my plan. And peer learning, it develops students' skills to give and receive feedback. I think that is the important thing in there. So how was it? Dario, now we'd love to hear your experiences.
So now it's my turn. So if we talk first about the blended learning, I think what helped was that we had personal contact first, because I think especially in these chat rooms, it would have been quite hard if I would have not known my peers to just enter and to get to know them. But as we have this personal contact first, it helps then to work also together in these chat rooms, or well, Zoom or whatever you're using. Of course, with the blended learning, then you have the advantage of being able to solve problems personally. Like, for example, when you're there in the classroom and you actually have to show fingering, so something like this.
Dario, I must add something. I forgot to mention that. Good that you started talking about this. That in addition to these meetings online, we have like weekly basis, face-to-face meetings in normal conditions. So please go on.
Yes. So in those, of course, it's easier to show to show really physical work. Though once you know the person that you're working with, even these kind of works like fingering or right hand technique or whatever, you can actually also do them via Zoom. Of course, you have to a little bit look for that camera angle, but as you know how the work is done, you can adjust it then on with the online resources. And that's the second thing, that you don't only have the knowledge of the person you're working with at your disposal, but you also have the whole internet as a resource, which is quite, well, it's quite a lot of knowledge if you know how to apply it. It gives you the chance, we shortly before, and there was mentioned this LOLA sessions. So this, I think, is part of the blended learning. It gives you the possibility of working together with people all around the world, which I think is going to happen in the future, and it gives the chance to pass on knowledge without having without having to fly to places. And it gives, of course, also more responsibility to the student. That's very clear, because when Timo tells us, okay, you have this work, organize yourself, then you really have to organize yourself. But in combination with the flipped learning that puts the student more or less on the same level as the teacher, that makes, I think, then that's a fair deal. You get more responsibility, but you also have kind of more to say. And I think that's a very democratic way of learning. And and then I think that
I would like to add to that it's I find it then more personal from my point of view, because then I can really help you or your classmate, because you have different things to learn.
Yes, of course.
Because I don't consider you as a group, but individuals in a group.
Yes, and then maybe this brings us directly to the flipped learning. I just wanted to add one thing. I think in classical music, we have not really much explored the internet. And this blended learning is a good way of getting into working with internet, with methods on the internet. And I think that's also going for performance studies, this is going to be something to explore in the future, and performances in themselves. Now to the flipped learning, I think the great thing about it is, if one compares it to a, let's say, more traditional class, then you have less competition in the classroom, as the idea is that everybody gets help from everybody, and it's really trying to get the best out of every student. And then, of course, together with, for example, with the videos, you can also not deny maybe that you have done a mistake, because, well, it's video proof. So you can't say, well, I didn't mean it, or, well, you did. And it produces, I felt, a more relaxed environment in the classroom, more relaxed and more productive, because everybody gets their critique, and everybody accepts the critique, because it doesn't come from, I'm better than you, but I'm trying to help you, and we're all in this together. And I think this would be a good way in classical music in itself, that we to teach people to work more together instead of just being always the best. Then, well, it gives you, as Timo said, it gives not only him the opportunity to be more precise with his helping, but it also teaches the students who are going to be professors or teachers in the future how to formulate their critique. As I'm doing it with my peers in the classroom, I can't be rude, let's say like this. I have to be clear, but it has to be a positive critique. And once I learn this skill, I can reuse it with my own students that I have. And so yeah, I think these are the positive, mostly positive effects that I've noted.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dario.
Thanks to you.
Now it is space for questions, comments. Are they?
I have a little question maybe to Dario, if possible.
Yes.
Yes. In my experience with flipped learning, it's not only the teacher's role who's changing, and you have already commented on the change of the student role, but this is maybe the most important challenge in using a flipped model in teaching. You know, most students have years of experience in being a student, so there are kind of a different role being a student in flipped learning. Would it be possible for maybe Dario to elaborate a little on that?
Well, if you mean the difference between a traditional classroom where the teacher tells you what to do, and by the way, I have been in these classes for more than 3 years before I came to Timo, and I think it can work for certain people, but for people who are curious, those are quite dangerous, because it puts the teacher at the top, and if you ask a question that the teacher doesn't know, then you are a problem. And this the flipped learning, I think this change of role happens. Of course, it's on a personal level. It's a way more personal connection with the professor, I feel. So there's more trust involved. You have to trust your professor and your peers. But I had the feeling that this happened actually quite automatic. This change of role, that you're suddenly, because it's not you take over the role as a teacher once you comment on your peers' videos. So and then it's pretty normal also. Well, Timo will, for example, also. and he sometimes maybe also will be able, like, okay, if you have a decision, you want to do something, and you have a reason for it. I think that's also the point. It will teach you, flipped learning will teach you that you can do, especially in art or didactic, whatever you like if you have a reason for it, and if that reason works. So I think that this change of role happens pretty automatically. Of course, the environment has to be set for that, and how to set that environment, I think, is maybe a little difficult to verbalize, but I think it's based on trust and being friendly with the people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's about time to go on, or what do you say, Air?
Yes, I think we can.
So